Hello there, friends and sane persons, and welcome to another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. Wednesday Whimsy is, of course, a short show that I do every Wednesday evening where I talk about a board game topic, a top 10, or whatever else happens to be on my mind that week. I'm Kyle, by the way, if I didn't mention. I'm Kyle, even if I did. Anyway, what we are talking about today is a brand new game, just arrived about a week ago. I was very excited to get my hands on it. It is a deck building-esque game, but it's a little bit different than many others, and that game is called After Us. You'll notice, of course, some, I call them monkeys, but some sorts of primates, that's the word, on the cover, kind of parading around the Eiffel Tower. And that's because, of course, this is a game where, I don't know what's happened, but think kind of Planet of the Apes without the anthropomorphic apes. No Dr. Zaius or anything in here, but you've got these tribes of primates that, humans have died or left or are no longer around, and they are, of course, what is after us. What they're doing is they are trying to get the most points, because just like humans, that's what any good gorilla knows that he should be doing. So, really, there's some theme there somewhere. It says, here we go, I can read it for you. 2083, humanity has been extinct for several decades, leaving only traces of its legacy behind on Earth. There we go. That's where we are. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you are the leader of one of these tribes of primates trying to get the most points to assert your dominance? I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk about the game. I'll tell you what I think about it, and let's go from there. So how does the game work? And let me see if I can show here. That's not the right button. Oh, dear. Okay. You'd think I've done this 70 times or so. I would probably be able to do it by now, but no, you'd be wrong. Anyway, here is a picture of some of the cards in the game, and that's because this game is primarily a card game. And as I mentioned earlier, it's really kind of a deck building game. So you have, you have these cards, and the cards have symbols on them. For example, we have this tamarind here, and it has sort of this one resource, this fruit symbol, this seed symbol, and then in the lower rows, there's sort of an input and output cell. And so basically what happens is you're going to take all of your cards, you're going to draw 4 of them, and you're going to arrange them in a row of some sort. And in that row, let me pull it down because it'll be a little easier if I take this off. So I've got here 2 cards, right? So you've got these monkeys here, and you're going to arrange them so that their cells fill up and sort of complete, if you can, right? I mean, you're incentivized to do so. So I could put these over here, or I could put them on the other side, and I'm obviously very good at doing this backwards. But basically, this cell here is not complete, so it's not going to give you anything. So you're going to want to arrange them in such a way that you can have the most possible benefit out of your cards. And then, starting at the top row, you're going to go left to right, and you're going to activate as many of the cards or cells as you want to. There's really, there's the ones that give you resources, there's no reason why you wouldn't activate them. But sometimes, for example, if this card were right next to this one here that I've got showing, I could pay 2 seeds to get 2 points. Well, maybe I need the seeds for something else. I don't know. So you're going to go left to right, first row, left to right, second row, left to right, third row. Now, this is all happening simultaneously. So, I'm doing the same thing that you are. And then when we're all done, my house rule on this is you pound your chest like a gorilla. But you could also just say I'm done if you'd rather. And then you're going to go into this sort of a next phase. And every player has a player board here, and you've got a set of these 4 tokens, and on the tokens are a mandrill, an orangutan, a chimpanzee, and a gorilla. I don't see the gorilla here, but that's okay. I guess that might be a gorilla. And you're going to choose one of them. You're going to place it face down on your board. Everyone's selecting one at the same time. You're going to reveal them. Each token's going to give you a small bonus, and it will allow you then, when it's time to purchase cards, you may purchase 1 card of the primate type that you chose. So each card, there's 2 levels, and you're going to pay the costs that are written on the board. It's going to be 3 of this blue resources, or 6 for one of these cards, or 3 and 6 of the orange resource for one of these, and so on and so forth. The chimpanzee, you just do 3 of a kind. Each of these different kinds of monkeys has a different kind of focus on them. These mandrills here, the blue ones, they tend to have more points. The orangutans tend to have more batteries. The gorillas are really your only source for rage, and the chimpanzees specialize in allowing you to reuse actions on other cards. So I mentioned rage. Each player has a rage tracker, which you can kind of see up here in the corner. And as soon as you get to 4, you may spend them and kill one of the cards in your deck. What that means is the card is gone from the game, never to be seen again, but it also means you're going to get whatever resources up here in the top corner. So you'll be able to do that and get some resources, but more importantly, you'll get rid of the cards from your deck, and then the higher, better cards are going to be worth points instead if you rage them out. And it's always, I believe, 3 points. I don't know that I've seen every card in the game, but so far they've all shown 3 points. So you're either going to get a resource for the basic crappy cards or 3 points for getting rid of a good one. The way that you win the game is you have you get to 80 points first. Basically, you make it around the track. Whoever gets there first is the winner. That's largely it. Within that sort of a selection and purchasing phase, again, you're limited to 1 card. And you can also spend 2 identical resources to copy one of the bonuses of a player to your left or right. That kind of copying is really your only interaction point. You might get some sort of an extra bonus from another player. It's never, world changing, but sometimes you might be looking for just that thing, and that can help you out. In addition to all of that, there's also these artifact tiles, which are various humankind technology, if I can find them. For example, you see them here, and that's what you use the batteries for. Once per turn, you can activate these things. For example, this one you'd spend 1 battery, and you can turn resources into another, or you can get a primate type by paying the batteries so that you can get them into your deck more quickly, or maybe pick one that you're not focusing on that round. Anyway, that's kind of it, right? The rules themselves are super simple. And we'll talk about whether that's a good thing or a bad thing here in just a moment. Let's go on to what makes this game so special. So one thing that's special about the game is it's pretty fast. Because you are playing simultaneously, it's always really your turn. It only kind of at the end of that first phase, when you kind of get there, maybe you finish up a little faster, and so you're waiting for whoever is still arranging cards or can't make up his mind about which of the 4 monkey types to choose. But for the most part, everything's happening simultaneously. What that means is once everyone understands how to play, you just go, right? It's okay, let's open it up, let's shuffle up, let's play, and you see who gets there first. Another thing that's special about this game is that the rules are pretty simple. I've explained nearly 100% of what there is in this game. It is not hard at all. There's just a few choices. You don't look at the cards. It's a blind draw off the top of the deck when you're purchasing them, meaning that you're not making some sort of a highly analyzed choice as to, okay, well, this card, it looks like it has this symbol here and this symbol here. No, it's, do I want the better one or the worse one of the one type of card that I'm buying this turn? I think that's great. I think it really helps keep things moving. Yeah, there might be a lull every now and then as you're waiting for one person to catch up, but maybe that person just had a lot more to do that turn. But for the most part, the game moves pretty quickly. The box says that it should take 45 minutes. I think that's generous. I think half an hour is probably good enough. On Monday, I played it with 3 new people, and we knocked it out from teach to pick up in less than half an hour. So I think, in terms of ease of play, it's really good. There's not really anything that's confusing. All of the symbols make sense. It's mostly just get this, turn this in. There's a couple that are a little odd, but they're explained on a helper card. Each person gets a helper card, and you can just look at it and see what it is. It's 3 different types of monkeys. Okay, do I have it? Yes. Do I? There's nothing that's really going to confuse people or hold people up. I think it's fantastic. Another thing is that this game will work with up to 6 players. Now, I have not tried it with up to 6 players. The most I've played it with is 4. And I think that's probably going to be, I don't think that I'm going to seek out playing it with 6, but I also don't think that I would object because it's simultaneous, because it's so fast, because the decision points are relatively quick. The biggest decision is which order are you going to put those 4 cards in. But once you've made that, it's just, do I want to activate this bonus or do I want to save the resources for later? On the whole, it's not going to be bogged down by more players. However, I don't know that adding a bunch of additional players would add very much to the experience either. That said, I think it's great that it could go that high without it being a terrible experience, because 6-player games usually are a terrible experience with some limited exceptions. So another thing that's special about it, I mean, the artwork is nice. I will say, some people really love this Vincent Dutrait artist. I think he's okay. There are really only 9 illustrations in the game, right? There's that tamarind, and then there's 2 for each of the type of monkey. So, all the cards do kind of look the same. But I guess there's some, the player boards are illustrated. So, the game looks nice. It doesn't look like a cheapy game. It doesn't look like it's not ugly. The color choices are nice. There's just, it's a good looking game. So those are some things. So it's fast. It's straightforward. I enjoy it too. It's an interesting puzzle. It's not interactive at all. And I'll put that in a but in just a moment. But if you're just wanting to play a game that's going to go quickly and you're going to do your own thing and try and do the best you can and beat someone else, hey, this is for you. So let's go into the buts. Not many here. The first one I mentioned already is that this game is a very solitaire. You're not really going to be able to interact with other people, and if you're teaching the game, you're not going to be able to watch what other people do, right? Sometimes when you're teaching someone a game, you want to watch to make sure they're understanding and doing everything correctly. They're not, misunderstanding the conversions or the points or anything like that. And there's just not really, because everyone's going at the same time, there's not really any room to do that. Maybe if I were teaching it to somebody that had a harder time grasping rules, we might play the first round non-simultaneous, just so we could make sure that the person understood. But you're just not going to be able to monitor it. You're going to have to say, okay, guys, I trust you. Play this right, and then do your best. And that can be a negative in games with new people or people who are a little slower to pick up rules. So that's another but. So solitaire, kind of difficult to monitor. And then, for a game that is as much a solitaire experience as this one is, it comes with a solo mode that is really not any fun at all. It was the most fiddly thing. So you're playing against the computerized opponent, and basically you're going to draw the 4 cards, and essentially the opponent is going to get 3 of each resource and 2 batteries each turn. And then you take the opponent's resources as your own. And so by sort of reducing the thresholds, you'll be able to control sort of what the opponent is going to be getting. But then the opponent's going to get a ton of points and just kind of stomp you into the ground. I didn't find it all that interesting. And sort of this, okay, I got to put out 3 resources here and here and here, it feels fiddly. It wasn't very much fun. I was really kind of disappointed at the solo game, which was very surprising for a game that is such a solitaire experience. So that's kind of it for the negatives. But they're not huge negatives, all right? If you're not a solo player, then who cares? And if you play with people who pick stuff up quickly and you don't mind kind of doing your own thing in a game, this is going to be for you. So where do I come in at it for a final rating? Well, I'll give this one an 8 out of 10. I really enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a great 2-player game. And 3 because in 2 and 3 you've got access to both of the players, the other players in terms of choosing their bonus. So there's no one that you're ever cut out of. I don't know that I would. 4 was okay, and 5 and 6 I'm not particularly interested in, but we can think about it. But I think it's a good game. I think it's easy. It's an interesting take on deck building, right? Because you are adding cards to your deck, but they're blind buys, and you're taking cards out of your deck if you choose to. There's only really one mechanism to do that, and I think it's an interesting spin on that genre. It's always 4 cards, although there's some special abilities that you can get a 5th card, and that one's a lot of fun. It's a lot of sort of trade this stuff in for this. I would say it was a cube pusher, except there are no cubes. It's all little wooden seeds and fruit and flowers. But I think lots of people will get a kick out of this. I don't know, what does the age range say? It says suggested range is 13 plus. I think that's quite high. I think this is one that a younger audience. Well, okay, not a baby, obviously, or a toddler, but I think you could probably go to a 10-year-old with this and not have an issue. Um, it's fast, it's fun, it's a theme that's interesting. Although the theme, I guess this is a but, the theme is not really there at all. This game could have been about anything. It just happens to be about primates surviving in a post-human world. But there's really no theme at all. If you love Planet of the Apes, you're not gonna get it out of this. If you hate that concept or you hate post-apocalyptic themes, you're not going to get it out of this. It's an inoffensive game. There's just a couple of mechanisms, unique twist on a familiar favorite mechanism, fast, fun, simultaneous, and easy to pick up and play. So I give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's definitely worth checking out. Obviously try before you buy, but it's a good one. This is one that I don't think will be a disappointment to many people, and I think that's great. So there you have it. We actually kept it to time this week. I guess that's what happens when you talk about a game that's shorter. But I guess we will end it here. I will be back next week with another topic. Not sure what it is yet, but it'll be board game related. I'm pretty sure about that. And until then, I'm going to wish you safe travels and courage when you need it. And I will see you back next week on another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. Bye bye.